This piece, I call it a Crystal Passage. This was actually taken up in Alaska off of Homer. These are glaciers. This shot took 3 years to get. Ultimately, it was a challenge each year, overcoming different obstacles with nature, elements of things that you probably never would even imagine that I would have to sort of figure out. One, these are 5 stories tall. To get to this glacier, you cross the bay at Homer, hike 10 miles, and then kayak into the glacier. So first, many years before, I'd say about 4 years now, I went to this glacier, a hike to the glacier, and I fell in love with this area. I fell in love with the glaciers. My goal was, how do I get into the glacier to get a shot? I saw beautiful sunsets always out here. I would always go in the end of fall. End of fall, you get the ice starting to change a little more deeper blues, the density. So my challenge began. I figured out how to get here. I hiked 10 miles, carrying an inflatable kayak. But each year I go out here. First year I came out here, went out here alone into the glacier fields and found out the hard way that air condenses when it's cold. So imagine you're in an inflatable kayak after you hike 10 miles. You cross the bay first, then you hike the 10 miles, then you get into the glacier waters and your kayak starts to feel like it's deflating. I'm looking around, looking in the water, like where the hell? I don't see any bubbles. Ultimately found out the hard way that air condenses when it gets this cold. So took back. Next year came out there, went out here with my brothers and needed to get this shot. So again, 10-mile hike, 2-mile kayak trip. These are 5 stories tall. Literally you travel underneath these glaciers, you reach out and you can't even touch the top of the end of that glacier. I needed to get a shot, so I had to hold the camera still enough without getting movement. That was the challenging part, because you take your gloves off, the hands instantly become almost frozen. Frostbite kicks in within about, I'd say about 2 minutes within this temperature that you're surrounded by. So ultimately, took me another year to get this shot. Became too cold the second year. Third year came out here, figured out, okay, I'm gonna come a little earlier in the season. Right at sunset, sun's dropping below that mountain range. The skies just became this beautiful turquoise of blues and purples and pinks. Sun was just reflecting off the glaciers, 5 stories tall. You're hearing the water seeping through the cracks. Such a calmness of serenity that you could imagine that you're sort of touching and you're in this time capsule. These are how old they are, millions of years old. You put your hand on them and you can almost feel time. Ultimately, I call it Crystal Passage because it looked like a passageway into a different world. Thank you.